Hello, and welcome to Without Fathom. My name is MacGuffen, and today I would like to talk to you about some new level up options for Daggerheart that I've been workshopping. In my last video, I made a quick edit to the Daggerheart logo and thought it was pretty good and a bit clever, so I decided to adopt Daggerchart as the name of my series of Daggerheart videos. Some will be more chart focused than others, but even if I'm not showing a chart in the video, you can assume I've been working on them in the background. Now, on to the homebrew. Daggerheart already has several very good options for you to take when leveling up your character. You can improve various traits and expand your abilities, but more options can't be a bad thing, right? Well, unless you have a problem with decision paralysis. I have 4 ideas that I would love your feedback on, starting with what I think is the least to most interesting option, so please stick around for all 4. The first option. What if you're willing to forego other increases so your character can deal more damage? With this first option, you can use one of your advancements to give yourself a permanent +1 bonus to your damage rolls. You can use this up to twice per tier, for a total of +6 to your damage. While this is the simplest option, it is also the most complicated, because I'm having to learn how to calculate average damage in Daggerheart in an attempt to determine if this is overpowered. While I'm concerned about balance, you also have the option to increase your proficiency and extra time in tiers 3 and 4 for 2 advancements each, which adds at least 1 damage when proficiency is used for the damage of an attack. At the very least, I'm concerned this option would add a level of min-maxiness to Daggerheart than would be preferred, so I would be hesitant to add it to my table. The second option is for people who regularly swap cards out from their vault, but worry that the needed card's recall cost and use cost might be more stress than they can spend at a critical moment. For that, this option, which we'll call Practiced, lets you reduce a card's recall cost by 1. This allows you to swap a card with a more niche use that you don't always need in your loadout, but want to make available when it's that card's time to shine. I would say this could be available for 1 advancement at all tiers, or just 3rd and 4th, once per tier. You must choose a new card with a recall cost of at least 1 each time you choose this option. And to be a bit more lenient, you can change the card that this affects when you level up. I do have some concern about this being too powerful, but I want your opinions on it. Maybe make the reduction only help once per long rest or session? Instead of helping when you need to swap in a niche card like the second new option, the third is for people who have a 6th card that they always need in their loadout. By the time you reach 4th tier, you've collected quite a few domain cards, at least 9, but you can only have 5 of them available to you at any given time, while the rest are most likely gathering dust in your vault. This option would allow you to add a 6th card to your loadout, giving your character more versatility and even benefit from a domain touch card while still having 2 cards from their other domain. I think this option should only be available at 4th tier and require 1 advancement, but I could be persuaded that it could require 2 if it ended up being too powerful. It would definitely need some testing. Now let's get to the 4th, most complicated, and my favorite new level up option. So, sometimes when you're building a character, you'll have a strong character concept in mind, but Daggerheart's simple but efficient system is too restrictive and you can't quite get your new character exactly how you want them. Sure, you can multiclass, but that won't be until level 5. At least something would be nice to be able to show how your character is leaning towards a particular theme or set of abilities. So, I came up with this option, tentatively called Dabble. Think of it as multiclassing light. The basic idea is it allows your choice of a domain card for that level up to be from a domain you don't already have access to, of a level equal to or lower than the tier which you mark the slot for this option. This allows you to get up to 3 domain cards from another domain in total, and only up to 4th level at maximum. And before you min-maxers get too excited, if you take this option more than once, it does have to be the same domain. In fact, choose a class that uses the chosen domain, and a spellcasting trait from a subclass from that class if it has one. You can use that spellcasting trait for spells and grimoires you gain via dabbling, or your main class's spellcasting trait if you have one. I'd originally thought of this solely as an alternative to multiclassing. I don't need those class abilities, just a few domain cards to fill in the gaps of my character concept, sort of thing. But then I decided I didn't really like that, and I might as well allow it as a tier 2 way of showing an expanded repertoire of abilities before getting to tier 3 and finally being able to multiclass. So when you take the multiclass option after dabbling, you must pick the class you chose when you took the dabble option, a subclass that uses your chosen spellcasting trait, if applicable. Choose the same domain for your multiclass, and you're unable to further dabble, which wouldn't do anything since you already have access to that domain. I know many of you are going to see this and think it's an adaptation of D&D 5e's Magic Initiate feat, but is actually more inspired by Monster of the Week's choose a move from another playbook level up option, which, strangely enough, fits with Daggerheart. I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out. It gives an option for people who don't want to give up 2 level advancements just to access another domain, and also have to gain class and subclass features that don't even add to their build, or lose the ability to fully upgrade their main class's subclass for that matter. This option opens a lot of character build possibilities. Maybe your character worships a nature deity or spirit, and that entity grants you some abilities from the Sage domain. Maybe your character has a shady past, and this manifests as some abilities from the Midnight domain. Maybe your character has some distant magical ancestry, and this allows you some minor arcana spells. Did I make up an entire new level up advancement mechanic just so my wizard can get a familiar from the Sage domain spell Natural Familiar? Who can say? I did my best to make these options good enough to want, but not so overpowered that they're the only options one would take. A careful balance. Anyway, what do you think of these options? Does it inspire any character builds for you? If you're a DM, would you allow it in your game? How would you improve these? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe for more Daggerheart content, and check out my other Daggerheart videos. Anyway, till next time, have a great day. Bye!